just announced criminal charges for top Democrat officials. Trump also has said that his team, the DOJ, are going criminally investigating Tim Walz and Governor Gavin Newsom.
It's the motherfucking DJP.
So there is a lot going on right now, but I want to circle back and update you guys on what's going on with this fraud, this Somalian daycare fraud, but it's much bigger than daycares, guys. We're talking about potentially trillions of dollars once you add up all the years and all the states and all the different frauds that have been going on. But this is some really devastating news for Americans, and really, I would say for Christians, because they have been allowed to not only invade our country, not only promote and push Sharia law. We see many mayors and lawmakers and politicians are now Muslim, even swearing on the Quran, which Mamdani just did, which in the Quran, it states to kill Christians, to kill the infidels, that they, the commandments in there are to essentially destroy anyone who does not become Muslim, that does not accept Islam, and that, they'll just take the women, take the children, and if the men won't comply specifically, then they'll just sexually violate women and children. Guys,
Trump also has said that his team, the DOJ, are going criminally investigating Tim Walz and Governor Gavin Newsom. The Trump FBI has caught already another avenue of massive fraud, everybody, and they are so close, they're so quick to make this change right now that the Trump administration has already immediately frozen $10 billion to 5 Democratic states. We told you there was multiple states in fraud. We told you they was working on it, and now, boom, $10 billion frozen. Criminal investigations into Tim Walz and Governor Gavin Newsom. And there's also, we're going to show you criminal charges that have been put forth by the DOJ into individuals across these blue states for hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud. This is all started today, guys. Trump gave a huge speech telling the GOP, get your butts in order. Let's go after, make sure that people know that we're going to give them health care, money, put straight into their accounts. We're going to make sure that we stay on immigration. We're going to work on the economy, but we have to hold people accountable, and Congress has to be a part of that.
Just met with a great team of criminal investigators here at the IRS. If you asked Fire Aid for any money, you emailed them, please send me all your correspondence. If you bought tickets, merchandise, or donated to Fire Aid and you have the receipt, please email that evidence to info@prattdaddy.com. I repeat, if you are a fire victim in Altadena, Pacific Palisades, Pasadena, Malibu, any fire victims, and you reached out to Fire Aid, please send me those correspondence and then the correspondence of whoever Fire Aid told you to email. Thank you so much. Look forward to closing this case. Just met with a great team of criminal investigators.
We have evidence and criminal charges being filed right now. More investigations are taking place into Governor Gavin Newsom and Tim Walz. Just because he's not going to run, they're saying that in the next week he's going to resign, doesn't mean anything. Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, has just announced that they are all hands on deck. They're moving through every government setup within Minnesota and California. They're rooting out the fraud, the waste, and the abuse. And the reason that they're doing it right now is because they believe, the Trump administration believes, if they can get Tim Walz and Governor Gavin Newsom criminally prosecuted, so they've been criminally investigated, there's criminal charges coming, and if they're prosecuted, the 2026 midterms will be a walk in the park for the GOP.
and live in the state of California like I do, you know Gavin Newsom is tenfold worse than Tampon Timmy. So President Trump just said California under Gavin Newsom is more corrupt than Minnesota, and he is 100% correct. If that's possible, the fraud investigation for California has begun. Thank you for your attention in this matter, President Donald Trump. This is freaking great news because just minutes ago, I posted a video asking Nick Shirley to come to the state of California, specifically in San Diego, because in that little city, I shouldn't say little, San Diego is pretty big, okay? There are 200 family care homes within a 20-mile radius. Now you tell me something is not happening there. President Trump knows it. We all know it. It is time to take this mother effer down.
His home state, saying under Governor Gavin Newsom's leadership, it has become the, quote, fraud capital of America.
And we have team coverage. Our national correspondent, Alana Austin, is on Capitol Hill with more on the investigations into Tim Walz. But we start with correspondent Heather Myers, who has more on what is going on in California. A rainy day out there on the West Coast. Heather, what can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Katrina and Andrew. This latest report was issued by the state auditor, and that's a nonpartisan position. That state auditor now puts 8 state agencies on the high-risk list of agencies to watch out for things like fraud and mismanagement as well as waste. Here's a look at that 92-page report. Newly added to the high-risk list is California's food stamp program. If the state doesn't get the improper payments under control, it could cost an extra $2.5 billion. Also on there is the Department of Finance, which was tasked with giving out COVID relief funds. Critics say $32 billion of that was taken by fraudsters. Then there are infrastructure issues like California's deteriorating dams and also the high-speed train that's already cost taxpayers $18 billion without a single section of track complete. Other reports cite $24 billion spent on the homeless issue that critics claim the state lost track of. More recently, there's a report that says California cell phone users paid a surcharge for years to upgrade the state's 911 system. Here's Congressman Kevin Kiley talking about what happened to that plan.
That after spending $650 million on that system, the state is totally scrapping it and starting over, completely wasted the money because the technology doesn't work. Mind you, we are very close to Silicon Valley in Sacramento, and yet the government can't figure out how to make basic technology perform.
Residents in Diablo Grande have been dealing with skyrocketing water bills and stalled negotiations for months. Now, red shutoff notices are on doors.
That's when I was told that I paid the money or my home gets red tagged.
Verity Harding says her water bill was just over $200 a month. Now it's well over $600.
We paid our bills every month. So what was our money going towards?
Western Hills Water District has had meetings with local lawmakers and even the governor's office requesting emergency funding, but they say they've been told since the problem is strictly financial and not an infrastructure issue, there's no OES money the community qualifies for.
Meanwhile,
I'm in downtown LA Skid Row, and I want to point out a few things that's gone on here in the past few years. In 2023, Gavin Newsom set aside $750 million to build tiny homes for people just like this that are surrounding by me. Somehow that money is gone. In 2019, they set aside $24 billion to go towards the homeless. Somehow that money is gone. It's unaccounted for. I want to talk about a few politicians from here. One is Nancy Pelosi. She's been serving these people since 2007. Her net worth is over $120 million. Another person here, Maxine Waters, she's been serving the people here in California since 1990. Her net worth is over $10 million. And Gavin Newsom, who knows what his net worth is, but we know he is building a $9 million home in San Francisco, California. There are leaders, the leaders of California, they failed these people here.
This is big, everybody. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you love this, hit the thumbs up like button. This is the momentum we've been waiting for. At the same time, I don't even know, like, this is insane. We just lost Representative Doug. I got to get his last name. He passed away. So the GOP has lost that seat. Marjorie Taylor Greene, today's her official last day. She's gone. But Rand Paul is now working with the Democrats to try and invoke a congressional power over Trump because of what he did in Venezuela. They're challenging this very hard. The congressman we lost was Doug LaMalfa. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Our condolences and prayers to him and his family. But right now, Rand Paul is working hard against Trump on what's happened with Venezuela, saying Trump is trying to get us into another war. It's insane. Let me know your thoughts on this, guys. This is Rand Paul voicing his opinion very loudly right now and siding with the Democrats.
¿Qué le pasó? ¿Están aquí? ¿Qué pasó? 26 años. 26 años llevamos esperando este momento. Ustedes vieron los que dicen llamar la paz. No, asesinos ustedes. Te nombro 4.
Papi, quiero dejar algo claro. Aquí no hay ni un venezolano. Aquí ni un venezolano, porque realmente yo no sé si a alguien aquí le falta un plato de comida, si alguien aquí ha tenido que ir a un hospital y que le falta insumos, pero esos venezolanos de mentira porque ni son venezolanos. El venezolano de verdad, Venezuela ya expresó su voluntad. Venezuela, 70% de Venezuela quiere que Venezuela sea libre. Venezuela tiene que ser libre de Maduro. No hace sentido defender un criminal de guerra.
This is what Mamdani and any Muslim politician has laid their hand on in the Quran. So you need to understand how deep and how evil this is, and just understand how lawmakers in this country have allowed them to flourish, sending billions of dollars to terrorist organizations to help destroy this country. So when I tell you we are in dark times, we are in dark times. We are in the end times. But listen to this. It says Minneapolis paid a Somalian restaurant $12 million in federal child meal funds after it claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. There's another restaurant that claimed to feed 18,000 a day. I showed you that in another report I did. The FBI watched the restaurant for 6 weeks. An average of 40 people showed up. If fraud this obvious still gets approved, corruption is normalized. Let's play this.
In December of 2021, the FBI installed a surveillance camera overlooking this building just off Lake Street in Minneapolis. At the time, it was Safari Restaurant, which overall took in $12 million in federal child meal payments through Feeding Our Future. Safari's former co-owner, Salim Saeed, is on trial alongside Amy Bach, the Feeding Our Future executive director. Safari claimed to feed 4,000 to 6,000 kids a day. Its invoices and meal counts shown to the jury alongside the video. An FBI agent testifying that an average of 40 people came and went during the 6 weeks it was surveilled. The FBI set up a total of 12 cameras at sites claiming to serve extraordinary numbers of meals. Another was at a deli in St. Paul, also registered by defendant Salim Saeed, which claimed 1,800 meals per day. The video shown to the jury showed an average of 23 people a day coming and going. The jury was shown dozens of invoices, meal counts, and emails seized from Feeding Our Future's headquarters in St. Anthony. Some showed links to websites that randomly generated names and ages to create rosters of children who were served meals. Many were signed or sent by Amy Bach, who's charged with wire fraud, along with bribery for the alleged kickbacks that she received. Her defense attorney tried to raise doubt when it cross-examined the FBI agent, that they didn't see the back entrance where it's possible meals left packed in trucks for delivery. He pushed back, insisting they'd still see congestion. To that volume, he said, I would say it would not make any sense.
That case became one of the biggest COVID-era frauds in America. And the kicker, Minnesota's own Department of Education had red flags. Massive spikes in reimbursement requests, impossible meal counts, and they still rubber stamped the paperwork. Now, this new audit proves what everyone with a brain has been saying for years. Incompetence starts at the top. When the governor's own office is sloppy with receipts, how can he possibly keep his agencies in line? Republican Senate Leader Mark Johnson said it perfectly. Quote, sloppy accountability at the top breeds waste and abuse everywhere else. And he's right about that. You cannot preach fiscal responsibility when you are overpaying employees, losing state property, and mismanaging vendor payments. And it's not just the Feeding Our Future mess. We've also got the Autism Services fraud case, another multi-million-dollar scam in the same state, involving clinics billing for therapy that never happened. And to make it worse, some of those same providers were linked to the Feeding Our Future network. It's the same pattern: inflated invoices, non-existent oversight, and zero accountability.
And that woman, Amy Bach, guys, in my last video about this whole thing, I showed you that she is currently listed on 40 daycares that they found so far, Somalian daycares that are operating right now in Minneapolis. This is a woman who's been convicted, and she is still listed as their point of contact for these fake daycares. Now, let's look at this. Let me show you guys. There's just a lot. There's so much fraud that has gone on. I mean, the numbers are staggering, but let me show you this one. Because this isn't even, like I said, I wanted to show you there's different states that this is going on in. This isn't just, guys, it's all over the country. It says more fraud discovered in Maine as a former employee of Gateway Community Services exposed a Somali-led Medicaid fraud involving millions of taxpayer dollars. When they reached out to the 3 Democratic Somali American state representatives, nobody would speak to them about the fraud. And guys, when they said that things are sloppy or incompetent, no, guys, no. What? There's no incompetence. This isn't sloppy. This is purposeful deception, purposeful crimes. They're doing this on purpose. This isn't like, oh, I didn't see it and oh, I'm just lazy. No, guys, this is a scheme. This is the deception. And many people will probably believe that, oh, it's just a mismanagement and they're not sure. And I want to see how many people are actually held accountable, because we've seen over and over, all of these things will be discovered. And then none of these politicians, none of these bureaucrats are ever held to account. None of them. And it's just amazing. We've seen it over and over, all the hoaxes and all these different things. Nothing is ever done. Yeah, a few people, Somalians, will go to jail or they're going to be held in indictments, but it's going to be low-hanging fruit. We just seen with Tim Walz right now dropping out of the race for governor in Minnesota because it all links back to him and Ilhan Omar and even more people that are corrupt. And you're going to see it over and over, but let's see if time will tell if these people if anything actually happens to them. I'm doubting it right now, but I can be hopeful.
Who alleges that millions have been bilked from the state here, from taxpayers and the Medicaid system, and that a Somali American-led health services contractor is at the center of it all.
That we were doing the right thing this whole time. And the more I started digging, the more I started finding. And I just couldn't believe what I was seeing, that this was happening and that I was part of this.
Chris Bernardini spent 7 years working for Gateway Community Services, a Somali American-led health services contractor in Maine. Bernardini alleges Gateway oversaw a system in which false records were filed about client visits. And he says they charged taxpayers for providing services that were never performed.
We started getting some clients calling and saying, months later that their client owed them hours. They hadn't come in for these shifts and stuff. But I had a time card for it.
And they were billing for it.
They were billing for it.
In March of 2022, Gateway received a notice of violation from the state's Maine Care Services Program Integrity Unit based on an audit of records taken at random from January 2017 through December of 2018. Gateway overbilled by an estimated $904,000.
In your professional opinion, what you saw was fraud?
Absolute.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
But Bernardini says when the pandemic hit, it got worse.
I started seeing bonuses, $2,000 bonuses going to these staff that had only been with us for 2 weeks, never worked a shift with a client. And yet the PPP loan comes, you're giving $2,000 away like they're lollipops at a doctor's office.
In April of 2024, Bernardini wrote to the Department of Homeland Security seeking whistleblower protection. They referred him back to the state of Maine. Nearly a year later, Gateway fired Bernardini. The company's founder and CEO is Abdullahi Ali, a Somali American who, while at the time serving as executive director for Gateway, last year ran for president of Jubaland, a state in Somalia's south that borders Kenya. Last week, he posted on X, "I make no apologies for building a successful business in Maine, working hard to earn a living, earning my PhD, giving back to my Maine community, and running for office in Jubaland. I am proud to contribute my hard-earned dollars to support my people back home. No comment? Is Mr. Ali here? Can we speak with Mr. Ali? Republican State Senator Matt Harrington has called on Governor Janet Mills to investigate.
It's just an absolute insult to the Maine taxpayer. That we know that there's this Medicaid fraud going on by Gateway Community Services. We're seeing nothing from the Mills administration on this, and I think it's appalling.
Now, we've reached out repeatedly to Mr. Ali, to Gateway behind me. We've reached out to Governor Janet Mills, the head of Health and Human Services here. We've even reached out to the 3 Democratic Somalian American state reps here. Nobody would speak with us.
Of course they're not going to speak to you. Of course. Of course. But look at this, guys. It keeps going on and on. Like I told you, it's been revealed by more court documents that Somali fraudsters in Minnesota spent millions of taxpayer dollars in property in Africa and other luxury items. I want every single one gone. We don't need a single Somalian to succeed. So this is what he put on here, but let's just...
New documents shedding light on the luxurious lives of the Somali fraudsters convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal were living with stolen funds. Documents revealing that scammers spent the stolen money on an apartment in Turkey, expensive car rentals, a luxury apartment building, and even a 4-story building and resort in Kenya. New documents shedding light on...
Look at this. Look at this. Like I said, I'm going to bounce around to different states. Fraud probe expands to Washington state. Daycare with 7 kids took in $81,000 in 1 month. Guys, I believe a report I did, there's like 400 and something Somali daycares in like one location, and they're usually like apartments. And then like people, so like say two families or 2 sisters live next door to each other in apartments. They both register daycares, and then like say that each other's kids, if they both have like, a lot of them have like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, they would basically register each other's kids into those daycares, but they're not daycares. They're just staying at home and collecting these checks off of the American people's backs. Like, I kid you not. Let's play this.
Here we have an organization called Amira Childcare donating $1,000 cash in 2021 to Shukri Alo, who is a Somalian-born King County political candidate. If we go over to the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, we can find Amira Childcare LLC, which seems to match with the organization that donated, owned by Ahmed Amira. So we go into the records. Of course, one of the primary languages spoken is Somali. We go over to the state expenditure website, and what we'll find is that you can't find any subsidies given to Amira Childcare in the biennium of 2021 to 2023, which is the same that donation was made. But you can find somebody by the name of Ahmed Amira Abdi I, which is seemingly the same name as the person who owns the organization minus the Abdi I, receiving $383,000, and I would wager to guess it's the same person, considering these grants, benefits, and client services are coming from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. We go into the next biennium, which is 2023 to 2025, and Amira Childcare LLC actually does pop up, and they received $363,000 just in these handful of years. Go into the next biennium, which is 2025 to 2027. Just since July, this organization, Amira Childcare LLC, has received $355,000 just since July of 2025. July through November. We don't even know what they've made in December. So what that is, or what it appears to be to me, unless I'm a stupid person, is a childcare organization owned by a Somali person donating to Somali political candidates with taxpayer dollars. Okay, we go back to the records from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Their licensed capacity is 12, and they have 5 available slots. They're not at max capacity. According to the DCYF, this organization currently has a maximum of 7 children enrolled. So if we go to the most recent biennium and we just look at the most recent payment, which is $68,016, that would mean that this organization is receiving $9,700 per month per child. And in some months, it's even more. For example, in September, they received $81,263 in just 1 month.
Is this not insane? But listen, it's all part of the plan, guys, to destabilize the country, to have us desperate, to have us broke, to have us just on the edge. This, guys, and it's all pushing towards a one world agenda. Guys, it is. Look at this. It says President of Somalia boasts about how Somalis in the U.S. became part of America's decision making by voting and have infiltrated some of the highest offices in the U.S. to advance the Somali agenda. They're open about it. I've brought you information about illegal voting, election fraud that has been happening with the Somalis. This is what they have done. Specifically, we have found that in Minnesota. Okay. No wonder Tim Walz is stepping back.
Listen up. This one's important. I'm going to ask you to share this one as much as possible. The Senate appropriation bill that's being voted on next week has $5.7 billion tucked away for refugees programs, funding migrants who aren't even here yet. While we're dealing with our own messes, all of it's going on with the Somalis, the fraud, they're voting to put more money aside to bring more of them in. This is on the Senate appropriate bill being voted on next week. We're not hearing a lot about it. There's only a handful of Republicans pushing back. It's because they're on vacation. Prepare to call your congressman, to email your congressman. We have to make everybody aware that they're just trying to fuck us again. Literally, that's what they're trying to do, and it's not okay. But if we don't get loud, if you want it to be an influencer in 2026, use this to start. Put it in your own words, start talking about it, start sharing it. We need more citizen journalism. They're trying to shut us all down. This is the only way we get the information out there that they don't want out there. It has to be done.
And going back to some of this, guys, like that's for refugees who are not even here yet. So they are preparing to bring in more people. Okay. And that includes Somalia and other countries and foreigners who have essentially destroyed our social services here. They are getting billions, trillions of dollars. We're not even talking about how the majority of people who are on welfare are illegals or immigrants in this country. And it goes hand in hand. The rise of that money I think it was 17 million, I want to say in like 2020. And then it jumped up to like 400 something million just on SNAP. And that rise in correlation shows it's the same with the open borders, the number of people coming in here illegally. And so then you see the SNAP benefits going up into that insane amount. But look here, it says breaking. It's now official. The same Somali childcare centers exposed by Nick Shirley were inspected again in 2024. What did they find? No kids, no staff. One center alone pulled in $11.5 million in taxpayer cash. So let's look at this.
I visited several times, and each time, no apparent sign of any workers. And each time, no apparent sign of any children.
Is anybody there?
Since 2018, Minnesota Child Care Center, however, received $11.5 million in CCAP money.
He and Nick visited one of the child cares, both of them visited, and found the same thing. There were no children, there were no workers, doors locked during regular business hours. He went back several times. So Nick was here for that one day, spent 10 hours on the ground, made this 42-minute video. It was great work. But Jay, benefiting from his proximity to the story, he lives here in town. He went back over a period of weeks to these same locations and reinforced the findings went back time and time again. So a lot of the criticism of Nick, he must have been there on a weekend or must have been there on a holiday or something. Like, Jay went back over and over again, and he followed up with state officials. He followed up with legislative officials.
I visited several times, and
So guys, the story continues. I have that went too big. I have a lot more to show you guys. Make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell.
Holy fuck, you guys. They're organizing a massive event with Benny Johnson and Nicole Shanahan to get a voter ID requirement on the ballot in California. Dude, Gavin is gonna shit himself. Watch this.
We're able to have thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands at Turning Point events. We should do like a big event. Right? He's bringing like Scott Pressler.
Let's do it, Benny. Come on over to California.
Yeah. We should do like a huge event, and we can like organize in like a smart area, right? I don't know if it's Huntington Beach or if it's somewhere up north, but organize in a smart area and get signatures. Like get a bunch of Californians, bring in like Don and Eric, and I'll come over and I'll hype it like crazy and do like a massive event. Have Scott Pressler out there registering voters, right? And bring in like and have Steve Hilton and yourself, of course, at like headline and keynote, and then we can use that as an opportunity to get signatures, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Let's do it.
This happens, and Benny Johnson harnessing his Turning Point power, making a massive event happen, getting Nicole Shanahan on board, getting JD Vance on board, getting Scott Pressler on board, and they get close to 1 million signatures. You realize what the vote would look like in California without illegals? This is massive, guys. Wow. Gavin, do you really think you're going to get away with this forever?
A few moments later.
Carl DeMaio here, chairman of Reform California, with some amazing news to share. We have just crossed 1 million signatures on the California Voter ID Initiative. And here in our campaign headquarters in San Diego County, California, we are processing the 1 million signatures, but we're not done yet. We need an insurance policy. We're not content with just getting 1 million signatures. We need another 200,000 signatures just to make sure California Democrat politicians don't try to keep us off the ballot by disqualifying some signatures. So I need your help. In the next 4 weeks until February 1st, we need another 200,000 signatures to add to the 1 million we already have. Collect more signatures on the California Voter ID Initiative and send them in by mail. Go to voteridinitiative.com, download the petition, sign it, and send it back in. Collect some signatures from friends and family in your area. Voteridinitiative.com is the website to go to. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and let's get California voter ID on the ballot in 2026.
Speaker asked me, would you make a speech? I said, sure. You think Biden would do that? Would you make a speech? What? First of all, people wouldn't ask him to make a speech because it never worked out well, right? You could never find the exits. You finish, look, stare here, stare there, stare here. You could jump off the front if you had to. No matter what he did, he got himself into trouble. So basically, they didn't ask him to, but if he did, it wouldn't be good. I watched where Schumer, he's such a bad guy. I mean, I've known the guy for a long time, and he's such a bad guy. You know, at some point they should say, you know, you did a great job. Thank you. Congratulations. Wouldn't it be good? I would say that if they did a good job, their philosophies are so different, but if they did a good job, I'd be happy for the country. They've been after this guy for years and years and years. And, you know, he's a violent guy. He gets up there and he tries to imitate my dance a little bit. But he's a violent guy, and he's killed millions of people. He's tortured. They have a torture chamber in the middle of Caracas that they're closing up. But he's tortured people, and now what they do, the radical left, they actually have people, and it's hard to get them. They're all paid people. Most of these people are paid. You know they're paid when they have brand new, beautiful printed signs by like the highest quality printer, and you have a woman, free Maduro, and the sign is before we even did the attack. You know, free Maduro. Why do you want him freed? I don't know, but he should be free. Oh, she reads the sign. What does that say? It says freedom. Well, that's what I believe. And you see the sign. It's like, Lisa, we should all have quality signage like that. The one thing I want their sign maker. The guy is great. He just called me a dictator. Nobody's worse than Obama and the people that surrounded Biden. Not Biden. I don't think it was Biden. He didn't know what the hell was going on. In California, they not only don't have voter ID, but if an official at the voting booths, which they don't have, by the way, because it's all mail, if an official, a voting official, even asks somebody for voter ID, sir, would like to see your identification. Do you come from our country? They put him in jail for tampering with the election. Okay? We got to straighten this out before it gets too crazy. California is more corrupt than any place. California is more corrupt than Minnesota. They have voter ID. And when you confront a Democrat about voter ID, like in a debate or something, I said it a couple of times with Biden, and just one, they're very embarrassed when they say, we want voter ID, voter identification. The only reason somebody doesn't want that is because they want to cheat. Our elections are crooked as hell. And you can not only win elections over that, and not only win future elections, but you'll win every debate because the public is really angry about it. And you ought to pass the SAFE Act, or whatever you're going to call it. Are we going to SAVE Act or the Save America Act? I think we're going to change the name a little bit. You're going to put that up for a vote? I think everybody in this room certainly should do it.
A few moments later.
Let's start with California fraud, because we got to jump in, and then President Trump talking a lot about January 6th. We got to blast through the show here. We're going to have to make some cuts, make a few changes, but we got you locked in for the next 30 minutes. Let's just rock and roll. We are going to California next week. What are we going to be doing in California? A lot, actually. We're going to be doing a fraud investigation in California. California, based on all available data, and based on the president's administration, which launched a California fraud investigation today on the DOJ, but then President Trump also posting on Truth Social about the fraud, please grab that asset, has inspired us to devote our significant resources on this program, significant because of you, to going and exposing this fraud. Now, this wouldn't be the first time that we've gone to California. We've gone to California 4, 5, 9 times. We got robbed in California. We've exposed the collapse of that society. We've exposed the collapse of what's happening throughout the state. And we've done it at scale. And it's worked. People want to track this because what happens in California, the way that that state goes, is what the left has planned for all of us. And so this, ladies and gentlemen, is what is inspiring us. Minnesota, obviously, they're getting gutted right now. Kristi Noem, for instance, is on the ground in Minnesota today. She's doing raids today in Minneapolis. So that story has been broken, and Nick Shirley did as good as any single individual can do. Nick Sotor, also a friend of the show, following up with the reporting there. So two Nicks, Nick squared, doing great work in Minnesota. We still want to do some work in Minnesota, but with Tim Walz's political career over, we don't feel the same level of urgency that we once did to get there. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump on California this morning. And then, Klein, you got to keep my tweet up, bro. We got to still read through the tweet. California under Governor Gavin Newsom is more corrupt than Minnesota, if that is possible. Fraud investigations in California have begun, and thank you for your attention to this matter. Was President Trump talking about our tweet sent at the exact same time? 8:20 this morning. I don't know. But I can tell you this, we are going to be going out there with some administration officials. We will be going out there with the, let's say the full weight and support of the federal taxpayer behind us, saying we are going to stop the fraud because it's all of our dollars. It's not just California dollars being wasted. So much of this money is federal money. It's your money that's being squandered in California. Some of the top line here. State auditor found $70 billion in taxpayer funds have been lost. That's the state auditor. That's a Democrat. This is a position that is elected and then staffed through the Democrat governor of California. So if it's $70 billion from the Democrats, and they're saying they lost $70 billion, what's the real number? Well, $24 billion was spent on a non-existent homeless program in Los Angeles. $18 billion poured into a non-existent high-speed rail. maybe we'll just go there. We should go to that location. What's stopping us from driving to that like 2 mile or 2 feet stretch of high-speed rail that they built? Let's do that, Killer Clown. Let's go there. $32 billion in COVID relief funds stolen, $2.5 billion lost in SNAP fraud. We got all of the friends in the federal government has these numbers. We know every head of every single agency, and we are going to rock and roll. And of course, billions have been spent rebuilding after the Palisades fire, but there's been no homes built, so what exactly are they doing? Ladies and gentlemen, our California tip line, fraud@bennyjohnson.com. Fraud@bennyjohnson.com. This post has been up for like an hour. 90 minutes. This post has been up, and we've already gotten thousands of emails, some of them from high-level state officials, politicians, members of Congress, and their staff. Fraud@bennyjohnson.com. We are going to go into the belly of the beast, and it's going to be biblical. And this is how we create a durable movement. This is what this channel is set up for. We have always done our role, our job, our responsibility in independent journalism as best as we possibly can. Last year, we exposed AOC and Jasmine Crockett. And now nobody can even talk about Jasmine Crockett without talking about her fake accent and where she actually comes from in St. Louis. It's been remarkable. It's been amazing to see what just a little bit of effort to tell a true story. And the truth shall set you free. And so
when it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president. Crying harder. Crying harder. Trump is your president.
On the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" catch!
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Hey, let me shut down the city! We are at war!
We're in a war right now.
We are at war.
So you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And that's why the gloves are off.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic.
And yes, there are many threats to democracy. We see it with these extreme candidates.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
What the American public want is for us to bring actual weapons to this bar fight. This is an actual fight.
You know, this is literally call to arms.
The MAGA movement is a threat.
But Michelle says that, when they go low, we go high.
No. With all due respect, if they go low, we don't go high.
When they go low, we kick them.
We take them to the mud and choke them out.
And make sure that they stay down. And you know what? Kick them when they're down, because they deserve it.
Get up in the face of some Congress people.
We are going to be in your face. We are going to be on your...
We have to fight this in the streets.
We're going to fight it in the streets.
It's time to step out of your comfort zone and step out into the streets.
To our Republican colleagues, if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist! You and your little friend off of Twitter. Y'all about to find out.
And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
He's not going to have a third term. He may not finish this term.
That's the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. Just saying. There will be news sometime. Just so you know, there will be news.
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing.
Most important thing is my faith in my life.
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.